Hey Dan,
There we go. How you doing, Sean?
good. How are you?
Very good, very good.
What have you been doing to just keep busy?
Um, Honestly, tons of coaching,
Yeah,
lots of personal development, working out, staying in shape, staying connected with friends,
for
doing
sure.
opportunities like this with you.
Yeah,
Oh
for
yeah,
sure.
oh
Yeah,
yeah.
that's awesome.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm actually just in Brantford right now visiting my uncle and cousins.
Okay, beautiful. Well, thanks
So
for stepping away to make this happen.
yeah, yeah, of course, of course. But yeah, let's get right into your introduction.
All right.
So for those who don't know, this is Daniel Deering. Dan started actually his first introduction and playing with the club was actually in the beach program when he was 17U. He then went on to play with the club in 18U indoor, where they were able to win nationals. And that journey, I think, is going to be an interesting one to talk about, as well as you spent some time with the national beach program as well. So I guess my first question to start things off is, how did you kind of first get introduced to the sport of volleyball?
Um, in grade nine, I played in a tournament at Lakeshore Collegiate for North Albion Collegiate, my high school. I just loved the game, worked hard. Someone came up to me and said, "Hey, you're really good. Do you want to try out for a club?" And that was Toronto West Volleyball. And they offered me a spot on their team, and I was able to play for them and coach on the side to pay off my fees.
Right.
And that's when the love started.
For sure. And what was kind of your first introduction to the club, like Pac-Man?
Yeah, honestly, I love the brotherhood. Facing them on Toronto West, they were like the top dogs. I love their energy, their passion, the brotherhood that they had. And I just told myself, I'm like, you know what? Like, I think I'm up there and I want to play with these brothers and
Yeah,
I want to make the change. And it was definitely the highlight of my indoor volleyball career was changing over to Pac-Man.
for sure. And when you came to start doing beach, right? You came with one other teammate at the time. Who, it was Christian, correct?
I did, yeah. Brother
And
from another mother.
yeah, and he went on to play UCLA, I believe, correct?
He did, yes. He went to go play soccer, but he was like, "Hey, I'm going to do a walk on as a UCLA," and ended up making the team. Oh
Right.
yeah.
And how did that maybe make you feel more comfortable coming here each new year, just knowing that you had someone else to come with?
Oh, 100%. I think if Christian wasn't part of the package deal, he was a brother to me. I would meet him halfway. He would pick me up at a bus stop, drive me out to Mississauga. He made it so convenient, and it was so nice to have a brother from the previous team to share that journey along too.
For sure. And during your kind of your first time, right, playing beach with Pac-Man, I'm sure you would have met guys like Terrell, Jesse, Kadeem, Dre, right? Um,
Hmm.
were those guys that made like did those guys make you feel welcome the moment you kind of came there and made you like make you feel like you were in an environment where you were going to thrive?
Like, even though we were competitors and we're on different teams, we respected each other's level of competitiveness, and then that just kept building throughout the experience a lot faster, knowing that we were on the same team, same side of the court, but even at practice, opposite sides of the court. There's just this
Yeah,
level of respect that we had as competitors and people, and that's what kept growing throughout the years.
right. And I spoke to Kelly a little bit about you just beforehand, just to get a general idea of what you were like as an athlete. And Kelly told me going into the your 18 year, you were actually a left side and a right side, right?
I
And your
was.
team needed, and the club needed you to play middle. Was that a hard sacrifice for you to make?
Um, at first, I think the uncomfortability of it, I was scared at first, but Kelly, being an amazing mentor and coach, just said blatantly, "Hey, like, I think in order for us to be successful, I think we need you to be a middle." And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
at first, I had so much, and he just looked at me and said, "Daniel, you can do whatever you want." And I said, "We're here to help you. Like, this is what we need." I'm like, "Well,
Yeah,
let's do it then."
yeah.
Oh yeah.
And did you think kind of playing middle your 18 year helped you a little bit develop more like your beach game as well?
Oh, 100%. In the middle, you develop more of a read on a one-on-one block, whether it's the quick or the shoot or a pipe. It's just you in the middle. And then you have to pick up on cues and keys to know, where the setter's pushing the ball. You have to read the play, half a second before everyone else does, so you can be able to close out on the right side or the left side. And, and then offensively, after the set's made, you're the first line of offense. And whether you get set or not, you got to help your teammates out to hold that block as best as possible. So,
right.
First, I was so close-minded about it, but then playing it, you got to learn so many more aspects of the game.
For sure. And one thing I don't think a lot of people know is during your 18U season, you played indoor for the club, but you were also doing training at Beach Blast, right, at the time?
I was, yes.
With a part of the national team program, correct? That was?
It was, yeah, I had a Team Ontario coordinator. His name was Jason Trepanier, and he was working with me, and I'm very grateful for that. My aspirations were to be beach volleyball, make the national team. And I was very transparent with Kelly and Pac-Man, saying I would like to do both. And we managed my load as best as possible to make sure that I wasn't not fulfilling my commitments to indoor, and that helped both avenues in my life.
Right, yeah, for sure. And just going back and forth, right, because I'm sure one night you'd have one practice and the other night you'd have another practice. Was it weird to kind of flip-flop back and forth?
Yes and no. If you prepare yourself before you step into the gym, the change was harder going from beach to indoor. Right. Being a middle and then not passing, not being, passing part of the court. The approach is very same, very, very similar styles of offense, straight up, straight down. But the sand made me faster, made me more athletic, made me more agile, made me more powerful. But yeah, as long as you prepared yourself beforehand, during even before warm-up, knowing that there's different changes, there's different options, there's different ways to approach the game, you can do a good job at just preparing for it.
Right. And so before this interview, I actually didn't know that your first year playing indoor with the club was 18U.
Yeah.
I just assumed that you had played a little while before. So I guess my question for you is, there was a team from Toronto. The team name always slips my name for some reason. That Sam Schachter, Eric Matheson, right? All those guys played on.
Yeah, they played for Toronto Blues.
Yeah, and when you came to the club, right? Although because their team had just formed that year as well, did you feel like you were adding a lot of extra value to that Pac-Man team to help kind of put the team over the edge against the Toronto Blues?
I think whether Toronto Blues were there or not, I joined the team for the brotherhood, for knowing that I felt comfortable and that I could bring that extra fire into practices and into tournaments. I think my level of competitiveness matched certain players on that team. David Williams, Terrell Bramwell, are the offensive big bangers. But it was definitely a choice between being on a team where I felt more like I could be myself and compete even with my own teammates. So I made that choice based on the environment that Pac-Man created.
Right. And just kind of going along your nationals trip, I know provincials wasn't a successful tournament. It was tough because you guys were kind of injury riddled, and same with nationals. But talking about nationals, you only played one set before national finals, right? Maybe you can just explain to everyone at home what it is that you did to your ankle.
All right. Well, don't be as, I guess you can say, immature as I was the week before nationals. I love sports, and I'll always be playing something. So I was playing in a basketball intramural game at lunchtime, and I rolled my ankle. And this was a week before nationals. So it was all swollen, all, done up. I felt really bad. It was a dumb decision. And then I also felt like I let my teammates down. So I had to monitor it. I had to get it checked out. I had to ice it as much as possible. Got the doctor's permission saying, you're going to hurt when you play, but you're not going to do any more excessive damage to it. But yeah, I did my best job, and we all brought it together when we needed it most. And I think it was a huge asset knowing that, players didn't really get to see me play and have a scouting report on me until the final day. And I think that was genius.
It ended up working out, and that's what Kelly said to me. He said, like the Manitoba Bisons had a full game report on your team, but when it came to the finals, they didn't really have an answer for you, and part of that being because you just didn't play. And I think he said that you played one set against them the first day, correct?
I think so, yes. Yeah, they didn't really know what to expect, but honestly, just great teammates and great coaching overall. Like having Kadeem and Jordan and hop in and like being able to just deal with whatever problems were thrown our way.
Yeah.
We were just installed with so much faith and belief in our teams from Kelly and from Wally that nothing was going to stop us.
For sure. And Kelly said game point you actually scored to win the ACU National Championship. How did it feel to maybe, like, you made some sacrifices, right? Like, obviously, you were traveling a little bit more to practice, right? You were balancing a lot of beach and indoor. How did it feel to kind of score game point and help your team ultimately win nationals?
It was an honor. It was, a long rally, and previously, I think in the second set when we lost, I got called on a lift. Like I threw the ball down, and it could have been a lift.
Right.
It could not have been. But either way,
Right.
I had to battle through that. But then I believe it was a 2-ball. I think Jesse like chucked up a ball on 2, and I hammered it just really
Yeah.
hard off the block, and it went out of bounds. So what an honor and what a moment to have for myself, and to be able to put that, I guess that extra more important point away for our team. But yeah, what a great moment to have, and to be able to hit it on 2 is definitely a beach thing too.
For sure. And I know you're not big on like the individual accolades. I know you're more of a team first guy, but how did it feel to kind of get all-star recognition at nationals?
It was an honor as well. Being able to get that only playing a day, but I think I was so motivated to play as best as I could, and I think the adversity on top of dealing with a bit of a pain in my ankle. Yeah, what an honor to be up there with Terrell and David and Steve Hunt and so many other players. Like,
Sure. And I've had a lot of people on it, and the recent debate I've been having is the 2018 team. So Jesse's team with Xander, Jackson, Bear, Cole, Sod, Avi, Arjun. That team against your team. Who do you think? Like, maybe you can give me a reasoning as to why your 2008 team is better.
I think what we had was, again, like, I don't know what they went through. I only know what we did. But I think we had a lot of adversity we had to conquer that year. Injuries, mental toughness, team dynamics were falling apart. People had to switch positions. So I think we definitely dealt with a lot of adversity. So I think we had more passion. But their team was phenomenal. Like the talent they had, the work ethic they had, the athleticism they had. You can't compare those. But I guess the analogy I would use is you can't really, you can compare Michael and Kobe and LeBron, but we were in different eras. So people can talk about it. Yeah, people can talk about it. And, you ask Shawani, but like, no, hands down, we're winning, right? But then you ask Terrell and I, and you're like, no way, buddy.
No
but
way, yeah.
To each his own, and I think we both had very successful 18U years, and we were both great teams.
Yeah. And then you spent some time playing at York, right, with Wally.
Mm-hmm.
And Wally helped out with your team a little bit, I believe, when you were HNU, correct?
He did, yeah. He came in as a guest coach and really filled in for the role and gave us different perspectives that we used to play at our best.
And do you think because Wally came to a practice, do you think that maybe influenced your decision a little bit to go to York? Like, do you feel like just because you had already kind of known what he was like as a coach, that maybe helped you?
Definitely, and he helped more than just being a coach. He helped as a role model. He wanted to make sure that I was happy. He wanted to make sure that education York. So it was more to do with him being a good person rather than just a good volleyball coach.
Right. And when you were at York, I believe you played right side, correct? While you were there?
Yeah, I played right side for half a year, and I also played libero for a full year.
Right. And so what was that like? Because you don't see a lot of libs that are as tall as you are. So what was that like? That must have been different.
It was way more than I thought it would be. There was reasons why I chose libero. I was recovering from knee surgery, and I wanted to make sure that I was strong enough to be a stronger beach player. So I wanted to pass well and learn the discipline of passing. But you're only digging and you're only passing when it comes to the skill. Yeah. And you have left sides, you know, passing, digging, setting, hitting high ball, serving, blocking. They have all these other aspects that they have to deal with. So you can encompass more roles as a leader on the court. You can keep the energy high in the team. You got to make sure that your left sides and your right sides trust you in the passing lane. Sure. You got to keep your hitters hot. If there's hitters that aren't doing well, you know, I'm there to make sure that, you know, you fire them back up. So there's so many other roles that I got to learn and ask questions about from Wally to make me a better leader and help in other skills than just passing and digging.
Right. And you playing at York also gave you the opportunity to also train at the National Beach facility as well, correct?
Correct.
And then after your time at York, you would have spent a little bit of time on the beach tour. What was maybe your first tournament like? What was maybe your first awakening to international volleyball?
My first awakening was I played in U21 Worlds with Garrett May. We were in London, and you know, to be able to represent your country at that age was unbelievable. To face, you know, other countries, different feeling, right? I'm used to everyone playing in English, and all of a sudden you're facing guys that don't understand you, and they're yelling in different languages, and there's just different cultures. Some countries are more competitive, and you're not used to it. But yeah, it was incredible to expand from, I guess you can say, being a very young but physical player in Ontario and Canada to then face young physical players around the world. So it's like I could get away with certain things being a big jumper and a heavy hitter, but then all of a sudden you're facing guys that are just at your level and you're getting blocked more often than you usually would. So that's the huge eye-opener, knowing that, all right, okay, I'm a big fish and maybe in a small pond, but now I'm a big fish in a huge ocean. Yeah, and it's like, so it's like, all right, I could be a shark in the OVA, but there's great whites out there around the world.
For sure. And I think after the Olympics a couple of years ago, the Summer Olympics, you posted a picture of you, I think, playing against Allison, right? Who won an Olympic gold medal. Maybe you can talk to me about how it feels knowing that you've kind of been able to share the court with someone who's been an Olympic gold medalist. Yeah,
what an honor. It was the 2015 event, the year before the Olympics. It was it was like, what's the word I'm looking for? It was just a tournament to make sure things went right. So when they did host, it was all taken care of. So yeah, me and my Garrett, we made it out of pool. We actually, and then we got matched up with the best team in the world. Yeah. And you know, it was an honor. We lost 21-14, 21-14. We were on center court, and is Alisson big, man. He's a big guy. He's a giant. And I got one block on him, and I felt like a little kid in a candy store. Yeah. What a great feeling to have. And Bruno, with his precision on his serving and his ability to remain composed against a big block like me, it really was an eye-opener to face guys that can just easily beat you in so many unique ways. Rather than just beat you straight up and down with a single skill. It was like they overall beat us everywhere.
Yeah, in every aspect of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And then people often talk about the actual volleyball experience, right? When you're playing overseas and you're playing international tournaments. What was maybe a life skill that you took away from
that? Being vulnerable with your partner. Being able to talk openly about, you know, how we're feeling, how we're playing, how we're communicating. You spend lots of time with your beach volleyball partner. And if you aren't able to communicate, you know, I'm feeling a little bit of doubt. I'm feeling a little bit of insecurity. I don't feel strong. What's going on with you? You're not really communicating. You don't look like you're caring. If you're unable to have those conversations with your partner on and off the court, that resentment will level. And here you are, spending your time and your money to travel abroad, and you want to be at your best. So I think those life skills to be able to communicate openly with somebody, your partner, to be able to be at your best and have those uncomfortable talks was a huge skill to take from moving forward.
Yeah, certainly. And just going back to, you said with the Alisson and Bruno conversation that that Bruno did a really good job, right? Hitting around your big block. So I guess my question to you is, one of the questions we had in the question box was tips to jump in the sand and how to jump higher. So maybe you can give me a little bit of insight as to maybe what you do to work out, maybe footwork or something.
I did lots of plyometrics, lots of resistance band training. I wasn't really into doing heavy lifting and heavy weights. I think it was an accumulation of being very active at a young age. I played every single sport. I was doing tons of different movements in baseball and swimming and track and basketball and volleyball and cricket and soccer. So I was very fast, very agile, had very explosive movements. And I think how active I was and how often I trained in the sand, on the court, twitches from a young age, and it carried through. It was more about recovery for me. I think I'm very blessed to be able to be very powerful and very strong without having to put in a lot of effort, like guys like Shakhtar and Pedlo and Bruno that need to get very explosive to be able to play against guys that are bigger than them. So I think it was a blessing to be able to play in so many sports as a young age to develop my athleticism.
Right. And one thing I always enjoyed was that you took things like bigger than volleyball, right? And I wanted to maybe to talk a little bit about your I Believe Foundation. And maybe you can talk to me about where the idea maybe originated from.
It originated from the amazing volleyball community, being able to play on a club team when I couldn't afford it, when our family couldn't afford it, being able for Kelly to offer, being able for me to coach and learn how to coach and pay off my fees through coaching. It was more of a pay it forward. So having great people in my life, like Kelly Smith, to give me opportunity. As soon as I shut it down in January 2016, I wanted to do that exact same thing to the younger generation because I knew how much it meant to me to have someone do it for me. So it was definitely a pay it forward moment, and I don't do much with it now, but I still am in touch with the people that I've helped, and it just fulfills me knowing that little acts or big acts or a little bit of money or a lot of money can help someone create an opportunity where if I wasn't there, it wouldn't have been possible, or if I can just exchange a number for them to open up a door and then someone else can take them from there. It's very honoring.
Right. And I wanted to read this quote. Someone left this quote in the question box, and I think this speaks to my experiences with you as well. And I think it just talks about you as a person. He is amazing. I started playing volleyball 3 years ago, and I'm in love with the sport. It was all thanks to Dan. Dan was great. So how does a quote like that make you feel? Is that what you work towards every day as a coach?
First, I'll say thank you for those kind words. Thank you very much, whoever that was. I think what puts you more over the edge of being just a good or a great coach when it comes to volleyball is being able to, get the kids that you coach to trust you, get them to feel heard, get them to feel that they're growing, to help build their confidence, to know when their self-doubt kicks in, to be able to have those conversations with your athletes, to make it enjoyable and fun. So I know how important it was for me to be engaged as a kid, to be able to be heard, to feel important. So I think those qualities as a person, I try to carry through and as a coach to make sure that the things that I loved growing up and being taught by great people, I try to encompass that as well. And it's people like that are able to share that feedback that make me feel knowing that what I'm doing and what I'm working towards really helps their experience. And that I hope that one day they can also be a coach, to be able to to get the feedback from the next generation that they coach, to have those kind words directed towards them. So it's more than volleyball. It's being able to get these kids to be engaged and to love the game. And a quote that I would love is, if you ask a kid, hey, what's your favorite subject? Most of the time they'll say it's because it's their favorite teacher. So yeah. I want to be that favorite teacher if I have the honor of coaching them.
Mm-hmm. Right. And that was something Kelly spoke to as well, was that when you did coach for the house leagues and clubs and stuff, like in club, like you were always a favorite amongst children, right? And I think that's always the greatest compliment, right? Is when a kid walks into the gym and sees that you're coaching their house league session and they're smiling from ear to ear, right?
Definitely. It gives you a feeling that can't be comparable.
For sure. And my last two questions for you are, just given you've gone through injuries, right? You've had your success on and off the court. What would be some advice you give to some younger athletes?
When help is offered to you, take it. If you have someone that's willing to train you, and you have someone willing to keep you strong and to keep you healthy, to learn from people like myself that didn't put their health being their number one priority. You can't just be Superman on the court and train. You need to sleep well. You need to eat well. You need to take care of your body. If you don't have your body, you can't play. So learn from coaches' failures, learn from coaches' mistakes, learn from athletes currently, and learn from previous athletes that struggled with injury, to make sure that you're not that person that will make the same mistakes that I made and that we made. So take care of your body and make sure you have people around you that will help you take care of your body as well.
And my last thing for you is, what are some future goals that you have?
Ooh, there is something in the works. I think we're waiting for, COVID to end, but okay. There is something.
So I can be expecting a big announcement sometime soon.
Definitely, yes. I am preparing my life for this announcement. I am making some changes for this announcement, and I hope that yourself and Pac-Man and the community will support me along this journey. And sure. Honestly, I hope that I will continue to represent who I am on and off the court, to then be a role model for the kids that I have coached and for kids that I haven't. Right. But yes, be ready for that announcement.
For sure. No, I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it. It was great to kind of chat and catch up a little bit.
It was great. You've been doing a great job. I've been following you.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
I would love to give a shout out to your mother, Pauline. Tell her I say hi.
I will.
And
sure.
Yeah, keep it up. And thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Take care, Sean.
Yep. All right, guys. So next week, Wednesday, we'll have Brandon Coppers on.